Let's see.
Eric, what are you Googling?
Oh, sorry. I'm checking Instagram.
Okay.
I get a little addicted to that sometimes. Sorry.
Do you?
Yeah. Well, there's cool photographs on here, cool images, and stories.
Mm-hmm.
Cool pictures of Wisconsin?
Cool pictures of Wisconsin.
Or cool pictures of Bristol, Connecticut.
Yeah. I'm still peeved about that ESPN First Take thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's introduce Sam Lee. We'll get into your introduction more, but just so you can participate in this, do you want to talk about what happened before we started recording today?
Well, we were bringing Sam in, who we'll introduce in greater detail shortly, a new member of the DW crew, basically. And we were talking about a variety of things, but he brought up, and this happened on, I believe, the 22nd, when ESPN was doing First Take, and they were saying Milwaukee is a terrible city. They're in Bristol, Connecticut.
Well, first of all, let's also let the listeners know the day we're recording this is June 23rd. So this is
I
hot
want
and
us to
fresh in the
act like
cabin.
it's live. Don't tell them this.
Oh my God.
Don't
Eric,
share
all right.
the ruse.
All right. I like lifting the curtain. We break the fourth wall. It's great.
Podcasts and radio are all about deception. Kind of like first dates or First Take.
First date should not be about deception, Eric.
Don't you act like you're better than you are until the person finally falls in love with who you really are?
I think we have
Isn't that
very
how
different
dating
views
works?
of dating.
Do you not put your best foot forward?
But my best
On a
foot
first
forward
date?
is not, but that's not deception.
No, but
That's also just not mean like sweatpants. That's very different.
I mean,
Like-
technically, the concept of makeup could be deception.
That's your view of catfishing. I don't know.
we are diving into tricky territory
Oh
here.
my God.
Anyway.
We're taking this heated
Hold on.
conversation in a very different direction.
To bring this back to our main topic today, filters. Filters can be deception.
Filters.
Sure.
There you go.
Okay.
And we use those a lot in pictures nowadays, including some on Instagram. I mean, you can tell when your grandmother shares a picture and she looks 22, there's a filter involved.
Does your grandmother look 22 on Instagram?
No, neither one of them made it to the Instagram era, unfortunately. But
Okay.
I know one of them would probably love the filters. Share it.
Well, better filters than on airbrushing people's faces. Some people put gorgeous filters on sunsets and lakes and beautiful things about Wisconsin, like our very special guest today.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking more with Sam Lee about Wisconsin and photography and Instagramming and what makes the state so beautiful and how you can make it even more beautiful with something just like your phone. Yeah. I love how we went all over the place.
Yeah.
That was good. See, that's why this cabin podcast is interesting.
Yeah.
People are like, where the heck are they going with this?
Next week, well, maybe not next week. The next time we record, I'm going to issue a challenge. All business up front.
Okay.
We just
can do that.
introduce ourselves. We say what the podcast is. We move on.
Tell you what,
sounds
we'll mean
exciting.
mug the camera a little bit.
That
Deal.
sounds so exciting.
All right.
What do you mean, McNeil-Lehrer report? That's way too old of a reference, Eric. Sorry. Sorry, you guys.
All right, Eric, would you like to talk to us today about our fun county of the week?
Yes, the Wisconsin Counties Association brings you the cabin, and this week we're featuring Rock County, the pinnacle, as it says here, of South Central Wisconsin. Beloit and Janesville, of course, are the two largest cities there. They also have great little towns like Footville, Evansville, Clinton, several others.
Shout out to Mariah.
And
if
Mariah,
she's still
who's from
listening,
Evansville.
which she is, right?
Yes.
Right.
She better be.
We'll
Also,
make this one of the reels. We'll tag her in it very intimidatingly
go.
like.
So Rock County has a lot of really cool stuff to see. The Milton House Museum is the last certified underground railroad station in Wisconsin. Fascinating history that dates back to the 1860s and even before. That's in Milton. And there's also a cool winery or two in Milton to check out. Rock County, the restaurant scene is actually thriving there. The vegan food scene is doing really well. I mean, that's such a rich agricultural area. Plant-based food options are really popping there. Janesville has a lot of great stuff to see, including Rotary Botanical Gardens. I'm a big fan of Rock County Brewing Company, which is right by downtown. So much history with the Lincoln Tallman House. And actually, downtown Janesville is really beautiful. And I have to recommend, this is super Instagrammable. Sam, if you haven't seen
hear
it
it.
yet, the Tiffany Stone Arch Bridge,
Oh, yeah.
it spans Little Tiny Turtle Creek near Shopier, which is just northeast of Beloit. It's a railroad bridge that was constructed, I think, in the 1850s. 60s, 70s, maybe something like that. But it is this gorgeous stone bridge with all these graceful arches. And it's still used today. It's on the Chicago and Northwestern line, and major freight trains today rumble over this gorgeous bridge. And definitely a great place to take a picture. And also something quirky if you're driving along I-43, about milepost 6 or so, look for a cool pickup truck hanging out in the split of a tree on the north side of the interstate.
Why?
Yeah. Some dude put it there, I don't know, maybe 30 years ago.
And it's still intact?
And it's still intact. It's on private land. I've snuck up close to get a picture, but I didn't go past the 4th "Don't trespass here" sign. I made sure I stayed far enough back. But yeah, it's just, there's all kinds of cool,
first
quirky
3,
stuff.
you were fine.
Well,
ignoring.
there were kind of increasing warnings. It's like, don't bring a camera crew. And okay, if you want to snap a picture, fine. And then there's like this, we'll come out at this point.
The final one that
sign.
Eric
And I'm like,
will
I'm
actually
staying
listen
behind
to.
this one, yes.
Good
So,
to know.
yeah, so that's all in Rock County.
Oh,
And now I'm
goodness.
getting thirsty, Susan.
Are you thirsty? Is it time for, Sam, do you want to join us with our cracking of a jolly good soda?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't
No
do
spills this time.
I didn't do a countdown for that. I'm so sorry.
That's
I may have
okay.
spilled it.
But I'm excited because I'm trying a new flavor today. I'm doing blue raspberry.
Oh, apparently my color
that's tasty.
perception is off. I thought this was an orange soda. That's cherry.
It looks orange to me, but yeah, that is cherry flavored.
Look at that. Jolly Good Soda is available in 6 and 12 packs in select flavors at Festival Foods, Woodman, Sendix, Piggly Wiggly, Triggs, and Quality Foods. And if you can't find it at your local store, what do, Dave?
Demand they buy it so that you can buy it from them.
Exactly. That's exactly what you do. You find a manager, you pull kind of a full Karen, and you're like, excuse me, I need Jolly Good Soda in
The
the
Karen
store.
level depends on your hairstyle.
That's fair. That is
And
fair.
if you have a Live, Laugh, Love shirt on.
Stop it. All right. And then also, if you are watching on YouTube, if you reference our dear friend Eric, you can also see that they have a diet line, which is caffeine-free, 0 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugars, which is basically the way that we should be enjoying our beverages. I am not today. I have the full calorie one instead, and that is fine. And make sure to stay up to date on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Jolly Good Soda for all of their fun promotions.
All right. Whoa, there it is.
Okay.
I wasn't prepared for the flame as we start our campfire conversation.
Yeah, came out of nowhere.
I was savoring my diet root beer and
So, as we alluded to in the beginning, we have Sam Lee with us today. And if you have ever found yourself sharing a gorgeous photo of Madison or Milwaukee or anywhere in Wisconsin, check back. You might have shared a photo of his. He's big on Instagram. You're a photographer, videographer. What else am I missing?
I'm okay at juggling. I don't post too much about that, though.
Okay.
I think you should start posting about that.
Yeah.
What?
And rock climbing, right?
Yeah,
I've seen on
rock
the feed.
climb.
Cool. And let's just hit them with the handles up top just so people who are listening along at home can check out your pictures while we're talking. Not the people who are driving at this moment. Be safe.
Be safe.
unless it's a long red light.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
it's the amount that Eric texts me while he's driving that I get super mad at.
Oh, wow.
I talk into the phone for that.
All right, whatever.
Hit them with the
Anyway,
handles, Sam.
Yeah, my Instagram is Samuel Lee, Twitter, the Sam Lee, because Samuel Lee was already taken. And
Okay.
then Facebook, Samuel Lee Photography and Film.
And Lee
Nice.
is L-I.
L-I.
Not
And my name is
L-E-E.
not Sam Ueli, which a lot of people have, like, when they reach out to me on
Okay.
email, they'll type out Sam Ueli. I'm like, it's Samuel. Lee. But
no, we're super excited to talk to you because Eric kind of alluded to this in the beginning, but you are a new member of the Discover Wisconsin crew.
yes, I am. I filmed a video, hopefully out sometime soon.
Sometime.
But yeah, hopefully get to do a lot more cool stuff with you guys in the future.
Yeah, obviously we all love and drool over your photography, which I think in the words of Dave, it feels like everything that you post goes like viral.
Yeah.
But we're super excited to work with you. I mean, what are you the most excited for, being a part of like the Discover Wisconsin crew and like having this kind of, partnership, I guess, together?
Yeah, I guess it's just doing something different. I mean, I've been behind the camera for a lot of the time. And this is definitely a pivot. Being a guest host, I guess, on some of the content is going to be a odd experience, but something I'm really excited for to see what happens.
Just like your guest hosting this podcast
Yeah, exactly.
episode with us.
I didn't realize I was going to be on camera, which is why I'm wearing sweatpants shorts.
Oh, no.
Hopefully the GoPro wide angle doesn't capture too much of my legs.
I don't think
You're
it's
good.
getting all the way down there.
You're good.
I hope it's not for my sake as well as yours. But we're both wearing
Cooper, be kind.
the same color shorts and shirt.
That's true. You two look like you got a memo today. Awesome. Well, Sam, let's talk a little bit more about your photography. First of all, I guess, I don't know how much you've ever shared your kind of story in getting into this. How did you discover that photography was a passion of yours? How did you get to be the Instagram star that you are?
I mean, I think my story is similar to how a lot of other creatives, start out nowadays. I think it's just social media and YouTube. I grew up starting in probably elementary school just watching people on YouTube making sketches, and then as Instagram became more prolific, watching people post these exotic photos from all across the world and being, wow, I wish that was my job. And so in middle school, that was I want to be a YouTuber. And then as I grew older, I was like, oh, I'd love to be a travel Instagrammer, whatever that is, influencer, that wretched word.
The wretched word.
It is an increasingly wretched word.
Oh, there's so much negative connotation with it now. It's
people don't like that word anymore.
No, I don't like that word right now. But my friends make fun of me now because they're just like, Sam, you're an influencer. I'm like, don't say that. But I mean, it wasn't really until college. I went to school at UW, and when I was a sophomore in 2015, I took a intro to film class in the small film school that UW has. And we had the opportunity to shoot, a couple big videos that semester, one a documentary and one a narrative. So we wrote a screenplay and filmed it. And those videos were terrible, but they definitely got me interested in videography. And so during that class, I went out and spent money to buy a camera and a GoPro. And so I spent some money that I had saved up. For $500, I bought, that camera and GoPro and just started that summer taking photos and filming funny little videos with my friends again. And that's really how I got my start as an adult with an actual camera and GoPro.
Do you know what's so funny to me about what you just said? You are only 3 years younger than me. I never, ever would have thought of YouTuber or Instagrammer when I was growing up as my future career ambition.
Yeah.
Hey,
but that
now
is
it's
everyone's.
Now it's I want to dance on TikTok. That's the people who are 3 years younger than me.
Right. Which
something
is
I'm still getting
frightening.
into.
Yeah.
TikTok is paying
Dancing
me to
or
not
TikTok?
dance on
Oh
TikTok.
no, dancing.
Is
no.
it? Yeah, I don't know. Even hearing, I think it's for most kids, middle school, high school kids, their career ambitions are YouTuber, social media, TikTok star, creator, whatever the phrase is. So I find that really funny that was really how. That's a whole new world for me, but we're not that different in age, so that's weird.
Well, I was just thinking about that too. And can I go crotchety old man here for a second?
Absolutely.
Please do.
When I was a kid, YouTube the internet didn't actually exist. And it's so funny because you could love photography and you'd have your camera, but you used film and you had to you never saw the pictures until you took them in, went to Walgreens or wherever, or a photo mat. Have you ever heard of a photo mat?
No.
There used to be these tiny little blue buildings in the middle of parking lots, and people would drive up, hand the film to a guy in the window, come back 2 or 3 days later, and then they could see their pictures.
Yeah.
And you got one copy of the picture unless you paid for double prints. And if you wanted to share the picture with people, you had to walk up to them and say, look, or put them in an envelope and mail them somewhere.
I can tell you 100% that I would not get into photography. That's what I had to do today.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the technology now, I mean, you could take a selfie and send it to all of Belarus if you wanted to. And it's just
Why not,
with your
Eric?
phone. And it's funny, your phone is this amazing camera and video recorder and everything. I mean, the phone itself is just a seldom used app on my phone, as Gary Gulman, the comedian, once said. And now this is a whole radio and TV studio now.
It's my favorite rectangle.
And the fact that you can, build, in a sense, a career.
Yeah, it's crazy.
On doing that. But the key, of course, is the content. It has to be great content.
Yeah, and I think that's something, you said content, and that's a really good point. I think that's something a lot of people fail to really think about it. And it's I guess you could say the more business side of posting on social media is something that people often forget, is that people just think if I post a ton and I post whatever, eventually, if I want to be famous on Instagram, I can do it. But it's pretty, I mean, you look at some of the people who are really big on social media and you can just look at them and think, oh, they're just doing dances on TikTok. But they're so analytical with how they do it. They're so, I don't know, everything is like so planned out, and they know what they're doing. It's a whole other
polished.
world. It's really polished, even though it doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
That's a weird art form, to have it be really polished but not look like you put that much effort into it.
Yeah.
That's a weird art form. Yeah. That also sounds like dating, Eric.
It's the modern
Deception of Instagram.
Well, see, there you go. That might be our final theme.
Maybe. Should we title this episode "The Deception
The
of Instagram"?
deception. Maybe
Anyway.
not.
But Sam, so going back to your photography, you really focus, like you're really known for Madison and Milwaukee and these gorgeous like landscape shots. So how did you kind of discover that was your niche?
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I picked up my first camera in 2015. I bought my own camera in 2015, and I started posting on social media right away because I knew that was what I wanted my career to be. I wanted to be a photographer. I wanted to be a videographer. And so I was just like kind of like all over the place with my content. And it really wasn't until after I graduated college, I'd been posting at this point for 3 years consistently. In December of 2018, I saw these like amazing pictures of, I don't remember, it might have been San Francisco, like at dusk. So right when the sun sets, right when the city lights turn on, it's like this magical moment. You get like 15 minutes to get these amazing photos of the city. And if you've ever been out about walking and you like see the Madison skyline, you can still see this like on John Nolan or, across Lake Monona or whatever. But I saw that photo of San Francisco. I was like, oh, I think that'd be like really cool to do with my drone. And I had my drone at that point for like a year or two. And I decided to fly it up and take a dusk photo of the Capitol. And people went wild. Like it's like they had never seen, they probably had never seen anything like this. At this point, 2018 drones aren't new, but they're definitely not something that every photographer had in their backpack. Something that they could afford. Like a lot of times people could only afford, a camera and some lenses, and they can't afford another $1,000 for a drone. So I took this picture and went, I guess, semi-viral on Instagram. I got like 1,000 likes. First time I'd ever gotten 1,000 likes. And then I just started consistently posting these drone photos. And it was just like perspectives of Madison that no one had seen before. And so people just went absolutely crazy over them. And to this day, even though it's not like my job to take drone photos, it's definitely like my bread and butter that people know me for, whether it be from Madison and Milwaukee or, around Wisconsin.
And it's a great point about the drones because they get the perspective that we haven't been able to get prior to this. People have flown drones through fireworks shows, and you get this unbelievable view of those fireworks exploding, the angles of the Capitol. You'd have to rent a helicopter to get those sometimes. And we use it so much in Discover Wisconsin in the show and in all of our videos to get those amazing shots that we couldn't get 5-10 years ago.
Yeah. And I think that's a theme you see across photography and video now is that like before, for example, you need to hire a helicopter. And if you want to take video, you can't just hold a camera. You have to like get like a camera in the helicopter that's on a gimbal and be able to shoot. And that thing, might be tens of thousands of dollars. Now I can fly $1,000 drone and get amazing shots of wherever I am. And that's like the whole thing with every aspect of whether it be photo and video. People can buy better cameras for cheaper. People can do cooler things within their own homes or whatever instead of in a big production house. So it's really cool.
Now, some of the people listening or watching may not know what a gimbal is.
Yeah. So a gimbal is just something that like balances out the camera. So you could like, if you're holding the camera, you can move it whatever which way. And this device will basically keep it stable in place. Think of like a bird head, the videos of like people holding the chicken and it keeps its head stable. That's essentially how a gimbal works.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I've seen, you can be doing this back and forth and the shot is smooth as silk. And you're like, whoa.
So do you find yourself favoring Madison to photograph and everything from drone?
Yeah, I've been in Madison since 2014. I went to school here, and then afterwards I stayed. I worked at Epic for a year. I like to forget that year of my life, but I worked there for a year. But that was mainly just to fuel, become like save up a nest egg so I could do photo video full time. And so I'm very loyal to Madison because I'm so thankful for, everything that this city has done for my career. But I've definitely been trying to branch out. Like I said before, I've been working in Milwaukee a lot in the past year with production companies there, businesses there. So I've been there trying to get more of my, photography perspective in that city as well.
Yeah, I think just the layout of Madison really lends itself to those awe-inspiring drone shots, just because it is one of those situations where as you're walking through that isthmus, like you don't really process that you're so close to the lakes, and then all of a sudden you see a picture from the air and you're like, wow, that is so beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't realize how narrow that strip is. Yeah, when you're walking.
It gets down
on
to
it.
like 6 blocks wide or so
Yeah.
at its narrowest point, which is about where the Capitol is.
Yeah.
And you can tell if you go up into the state Capitol and there's a balcony area on like about the 4th floor, so then you can see both sides. But otherwise, when you're on the street level, you really can't tell. And the dramatic change of lake to city to lake really does lend itself, because there's only 2, and we've mentioned this before, but there's only 2 cities on an isthmus in the whole country. Madison. Can you guess what the other one is?
I don't want to make a fool of myself.
Seattle.
I don't want to guess. Seattle. That's actually the place where I would love to. I'm actually going to go there in August. Because
nice.
I think it's a really
We'll be
That's
looking
the city,
forward to good pictures.
Yeah.
Between that and the mountains near Seattle, I mean, that seems like it would lend itself to some amazing shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. And I also feel like the Madison community has really embraced you as a creator, as an artist, which has been, I'm assuming, super cool.
Yeah, and that's something like people always ask me, they're like, Sam, like now that, you've kind of like been able to rise to the occasion where you've been able to do photo and video full time as a job, like why not move somewhere else? And it's like, the only reason I guess that I was able to rise to this place is because I was in Madison and because of the people of Madison. Like anywhere else, I'd probably be taking a much different route. I don't think I could like rely on social media so heavily. I'd be, a fish in a very, very big pond.
Yeah.
But here I was able to kind of like stake a claim, and I love Madison so much. I've been here for so long, and yeah, like you said, people like really appreciate that. I think being able to see their city in a new perspective in a new way.
Yeah. So speaking of, for people who do want to like kind of do the same thing as you and go out and photograph their hometown and kind of see their town through a new light, do you have any tips for people who are just starting out, or like what is your process as you kind of walk around and look for shots and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really just latching onto what makes your town or city special. Whether you live somewhere big or small, there's always something different that other people haven't photographed yet. I mean, even if you see, photographers out of Manhattan, like there's always new things coming out of that city, new perspectives, new ways people are creating. And so I don't think it necessarily even needs to be a new subject. It just can be a new way of capturing things. So drone, like people know what the Capitol in Madison is, right? But it was mainly just like being able to capture it from a drone that got people really excited. Being able to see the whole isthmus from up high that got people excited. So I can't speak to like for every town and city, but I feel like there's definitely special things in every place that people can find.
Well, and you mentioned Milwaukee. I mean, with the lakefront in Lake Michigan in Milwaukee and the skyline there's a lot of opportunities for great shots. And there was a guy, I don't know if you saw this over the winter, but part of Lake Michigan froze over by the harbor, and the speed skaters went out there.
I drove to Milwaukee the next day, or maybe a couple of days after, for sunrise. It was already melted. I was so sad. I woke up at like 3:30 a.m. to get there by sunrise, and it was all melted. I was so heartbroken. But like, because apparently that place just doesn't freeze over that much. And
the lake's pretty big, and the water churns a lot, so it takes a lot for it to freeze.
Wow.
But but that's the kind of stuff you're talking about, because that I don't know if it went on Instagram. It probably did, but it went on YouTube.
Yeah,
and that
I don't remember where I saw it, but it's also like
traction.
that. It's like right time, right place. Like you never know. And that's why I say, like, you just got to be out as much as possible if you're starting out and you want to stake your claim. You got to just be out as much as possible every sunrise, every sunset to try to see what's new.
And this is true. This has been true with photographers since they first invented cameras in the 1800s. Sometimes you have to wait hours and hours for that one perfect shot.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've gone out to say, oh, I'm going to capture a sunrise, capture a sunset, and they've just been busts. And I'm just like sitting there, and I'm just like, well, this is a waste of 2 hours. I'm still waiting for that opportunity to capture like a thunderstorm above the skyline. And I just saw another photographer. His name's Kenton Fowler. He just got some amazing lightning shots like over I think Lake Mendota, around that area near where the terrace is. And I was like, dang it, I don't know if I can swear. I was gonna say, but I was like, dang, I wish I was there. But it's just like being there at the right time, right place.
Right. I always think about that when I see those like National Geographic shots of maybe like an animal eating something or like right in man. And I was like, the amount of time you like waited for that one shot has to be unbearable. So I can only imagine.
And for a shot like that of certain animals, especially if they're running lightning, you have to have a high shutter speed.
Yeah.
If you're using a professional, like your phone, you can't really set a shutter speed. I don't think on most of these phones.
You can on some of the newer ones, but it's a lot about just like luck of the draw, but also just having the right equipment to do it. Like you said, wildlife photographer, like you got to have humongous lenses. These people are like working with like 400 millimeter, 800 millimeter lenses that are worth upwards of $5,000. Yeah, and they're sitting in their hides or whatever they are. They're sitting in there for days, if not weeks, to get shots. It's unbelievable the dedication that some photographers have.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool.
So if you're a photographer and your focus is social media, one of your big goals is to have it go viral.
Yeah.
You want as many people as possible to see it. One of the ways that happens is through the proper use of hashtags.
Yep. That's one easy way.
What recommendations do you have on hashtags, and what are some other ways to help it go viral?
Yeah, so as far as hashtags go, so they obviously help you reach a broader audience just through people who might be interested in that hashtag. So they say like, oh, I want to go to Madison. Where are some cool places to go in Madison? Well, a lot of people, instead of Googling Madison, they'll just click on the hashtag on Instagram and they'll look up cool places. So if they see your photo, they're like, oh, that place looks cool. I want to go there. So that's one great way to get your organic reach up is by hashtagging. So like 15 to 20 hashtags underneath each photo on Instagram. Other platforms vary. But that can boost your audience a lot if you're trying to grow on social media. Another way is just timing. So knowing what's relevant within whatever's going on at the moment. So right now, the Bucks are in the playoffs. So I went last week and spent a few days just capturing Milwaukee because I knew that the Bucks were in the playoffs and that hopefully things would pan out and they would move on. And so far that's been true. Hopefully it's still true at the time this airs. Otherwise, I'm so sorry. But I've just been posting a lot of stuff with Fiserv, a lot of stuff with the Milwaukee skyline, just to get like people amped up about the Bucks being in the playoffs. Like right now, they're doing so well.
Yeah, that Deer District is pretty cool when it's filled with people.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially now that COVID's over too. People are like so much more excited about like big group gatherings and big sports events. So it's being relevant, using the medium to your advantage. And then I guess at the end of the day, it's just being a good photographer too. Like to go viral, you kind of have to be good at what you do. And so it's just practice makes perfect, I guess.
Content.
Yeah.
Good content is king. So Sam, kind of pivoting a little bit, because I feel like we could also, drool over these images all the time. But the amount that you've traveled for photography, like you've seen a lot of like the nooks and crannies and some of the best of these like cities. So talking very specifically for Madison, Milwaukee, what have been some of the favorite things that you've discovered, uncovered? Have you found any hidden gems? Thank you.
Boy, you knew that. As soon as you shot a look at Dave, I'm like, oh,
what's going on?
He needs to hit a hotkey. Something's coming.
Oh, and he was right there for me. So thank you, Dave.
Yeah, I don't know, like hidden gems wise, like I feel like it may not necessarily be places, but it's definitely like an appreciation for the city, whether it be, again, like the right time and right place. So I see like a rainbow in the perfect spot or like or rain clouds coming in and making like a really cool composition on the skyline. I think it's a lot of those cool things that being a photographer pushes you to go out and look at the city in so many different ways and so many different moments. So really you just get to see like just magical moments, across the year because you're out so much. Also, like, I think specifically right now I'm working on a video where I really wanted to showcase not just like spots in Madison, but also some of the culture and personality within Madison. So I've been working with, dancers. I've been working with people who are active, so bikers, some artists, and then like just people who love like wakeboarding on the lake, just like a bunch of different things that kind of make Madison, and been making a video to showcase that. Like it's stuff like that too, where it goes beyond just the superficial, like, oh, look, my city is beautiful. Look at the Capitol. And that there's a lot of really great people and culture here as well. And something that kind of slips, I guess, behind the surface if you're not around the city a lot.
For sure.
So Instagram is your prime. On social media, you use Instagram more than anything else?
Yeah, so Instagram is definitely the one I spend the most time on, definitely the most time intensive. Of course, I'm posting on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. whenever time allows me to. But Instagram is definitely the source where I get most of my traffic from and most of my clients from. So when I do like commercial video production, most of them know me from Instagram, which is why I tend to spend the most time there.
So, and that's a good question for people who are saying, how do you monetize something like this? I take a picture, I put it on Instagram, you hashtag it, you hope it goes viral, but how do you make a career out of it, or even just a side hustle that's worth the time?
Yeah.
And you already mentioned kind of some of what you do, but describe how that develops, because that's a relatively new way of making a career for yourself.
Yeah, and so that question's really good and something I always like to talk about, because at the end of the day, people are creatives and they're not necessarily thinking about the business side of things, and that's something they need to focus on if you want to make it a career, or it's much easier to make it a career if you focus on. So right now, a main way that I make money is, of course, commercial video production, and I get that from people knowing who I am because of social media and then reaching out because they have a video they want to make. So they're a business, they see my photo, oh, that guy's cool, I want to make a video. Another way, a considerable amount of money that I make is from selling prints. And that's something that not necessarily people think off the top of the head. Like, why does this guy post so many pictures of the Capitol? It's like, because people are buying pictures of the Capitol and they love having a photo of their Capitol sitting in their home. And so I've been able to, at this point, I think probably sell like over, I want to say like 2,000, 2,500 prints. So like a lot of people have my work hanging in their homes or businesses. And so that's like a really big way that you can make money. And so I did like a whole website revamp to make it a much easier shopping experience, to make it look cleaner.
So along with your Instagram posting and social media posting, you developed a website with a store in it, basically, showcasing your photography. And so somebody can take, and obviously your digital photography, a lot of pixels in it, so you can blow it up and make it a nice large print.
Exactly.
So you probably don't do that yourself. You probably work with a company that will create prints off of it.
Yeah, so I work with a third party that like sends it directly to the customer. So I have like I've spent like a lot of time, and this is something that's definitely behind the scenes and not everybody knows, but like I spent a lot of time developing this print shop. And whether it be like your own website or some existing platform like Etsy, like you can make a very good amount of money off of that. Like one example that I say is like, so I posted these 4 pictures of Madison and I was like, hey, and I posted on Twitter, I was like, hey guys, like I just started an Etsy store, like 50% off right now. And I didn't really think of anything of it. I was like, oh, I'll get a few sales on Etsy, it'll be great. And then Big Cat from Barstool retweeted it, and I ended up making $7,000 that day.
Oh, wow.
Shoot.
Because he retweeted it, and a lot of people from Wisconsin follow him.
Yeah.
So then I made like essentially like a month's salary in that one day because of that one retweet. And that's the power of social media.
Say we love God, we love a good retweet. But honestly, e-commerce, that's, I mean, what a huge part, especially I think in 2020, that part of all of our businesses really blew up.
Yeah, and that's something I focused on really heavily in COVID. I mean, obviously shooting dropped a ton. I was really worried in March of 2020 what was going to happen. Like I had just quit Epic in October of 2019. And so I had a little nest egg saved, but I was like definitely scared that I was going to make $0 the next year. So I was already selling some prints, but I really like put my heart and soul into pushing prints because it was a really easy way to make money without having to interact with people. So I was lucky.
Great way to do it, right?
Great way to phrase it, yeah.
Yeah, so luckily I was able to succeed at that. And it's something I like push a lot of other photographers that reach out to me. I'm like, you should really spend your time like doing this. You can make a good amount of passive income and fund your passion of taking photos.
Yeah, and especially with like travel pictures, those are so perfect to get prints of if you're moving out of state or something like that. That's always like a great piece of art to put on your wall to remind you of home. So.
Yeah, and there are like a ton of different avenues. Like print sales aren't the only one. Like you could do stock photography, and that's not something I've really done, but you can be like, I'm going to go out and take pictures of like falling fall leaves and then post it on like a stock photo website. And you can make thousands of dollars off of that over the years. So there's like, you just got to think outside the box. If like truly you want to make photography your job, at the end of the day, you might not be taking pictures of, people or working with clients all the time. It might be a different avenue to help initially, fund your passion.
Mm-hmm. We love that. Plus, it also is really cool that, kind of like you said earlier, your work is hanging in like thousands of people's homes. Like that's gotta be a cool feeling.
A little creepy, but a little cool.
Well, hopefully it's not creepy.
Do you autograph it for extra money? Or?
No, I usually send them like a small headshot for free too. I'm like, if you want to hang this, that's cool.
Oh, man. Sam Lee, thank you so much for coming on The Cabin and talking about Instagramming Wisconsin with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of good info on here. And yeah, if you are listening or watching and you have a passion for photography, check out his work and see what he does on his website and everything.
Let's get those handles again for anyone who's forgotten by
Hit
now.
him again.
Instagram, Samuel Lee, SAMUELLI. And then Twitter is The Sam Lee. And then Facebook is Samuel Lee Photo and Film.
Great.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Sam.
Yeah,
Thanks, Sam.
for coming in.
Welcome to the crew. All right.
He was
our
cool.
New
Yeah.
DW crew member, Sam.
Yeah. I love it.
Good stuff.
I think he's inspiring in terms of what he can do with photography and how you can make that. Again, for a lot of people, it may not be a full-time thing for them, but if they can make it a side gig. I mean, we're in a gig economy, and if you can make some money off your photographs, that's great.
Yeah, and I love his business mindset of sure, he does this as a hobby and he's a creator, but you do have to have that business mindset to kind of go forward with that.
Well, that's fair.
Important to balance.
Usually the creative people are not the business-minded people. So you can have someone that balances that. Super important.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Well, more good advice. What do you say?
Do it.
I love driving around. I love doing road trips. So many people do. And
Eric,
sometimes you're in a rush.
You drive around?
A little bit.
You do? Oh my gosh, I never would have guessed you for a road tripper.
So sometimes when you're on the road, you want to grab a bite or a beverage, and a lot of times people will eat and drink their beverages in their car. We all know about how dangerous it can be when you're driving around talking on your cell phone or texting or something like that. But there's also a 39% increased likelihood of an accident when you're eating or drinking any beverage. We're not talking drinking and driving. We're talking if you have a
Jolly
mineral
Good
water.
Soda?
Or a Jolly Good Soda, which is delicious, but if you drink it while you're in your car, there's a better chance. More so with eating, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's a really good idea this summer. Instead of eating in your car, wait, because it's also empty calories sometimes. Can't tell you how many times I've gone to a quick trip or whatever. I'm like, hey, these chips look good. No, I shouldn't be eating those. But there are so many great little stops along the road where you can picnic. Go to the beach, maybe. We've got a lot of beachfront property in the state. Historical markers. You can go to the Gary Gygax thing in Lake Geneva or that Elvis marker where he stopped a fight in Madison or some of the unique places. Or get out and explore some of the gardens. Yeah. Check out the farmland and just plop down and eat or drink there and take in the scenery and enjoy. And we've got some good advice for where you can do that. Our latest blog on the Bobber, which is bobber.discoverwisconsin.com. You can check that out thanks to Group Health Trust.
And we are also celebrating the 125th anniversary of Bent's Camp.
Yes.
Now,
just filmed there.
There is a lot of details here, so I might kind of do a Wisconsin in 72 style ad read here.
Oh my God, we haven't done a
Are you gonna
Wisconsin
do the
in
music?
72 in forever.
I'm seriously going to do the
I was
music.
gonna say,
I might
this
cut
is-
this if it goes poorly.
Supper Club music. Let's do it.
Do it.
Bent's Camp was built by Charlie Bent and his family 125 years ago on Mamie Lake of the Cisco chain as a haven for sportsmen. Charlie Bent loved the Northwoods and did all he could in his lifetime to protect and improve it for others. Bent's Camp has been a recognized mecca for fishermen since 1896, and it's still being discovered by sportsmen and women every year. Today, the year-round resort has 13 cabins, a bait shop, a boat launch, and a beautiful bar and restaurant with birch and cedar bark walls that looks north over the Cisco chain. What's cool about this spot is the access to the Cisco chain of lakes. Located on the Wisconsin-Michigan border, the chain is known as one of the best fisheries in the two states. With the Sylvania wilderness a couple miles away and endless exploration at your fingertips in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, Bent's Camp is the northern Wisconsin escape for any outdoor adventurer. To learn more about Bent's Camp or to plan your next adventure, visit bents-camp.com or follow Bent's Camp on Facebook or Instagram.
Wow.
You did it.
You should have let the music finish out. It was almost done.
Oh my God. Look at you go, Dave.
Thank you, Bent's Camp.
It is a beautiful place. BENTS-camp.com. And really fantastic place. We'll be seeing it on some Discover Wisconsin video soon because I was filming there.
Well, it also looks like quite the little tucked away kind of hidden gem. Like this is definitely something I did not know existed. So
A little bit west of Land O'Lakes. Right up on the border there with the UP.
Oh, yeah.
And
there.
it's a great getaway and a really, really fun time.
Nice.
Yeah. Love it. Awesome. Well, you guys, can I make a quick interlude? Have you guys had the blue raspberry Jolly Good yet?
No.
I don't think so.
I would like to. This is my first time having it. It tastes like cotton candy.
Oh,
That's my ring endorsement for blue raspberry.
okay.
I'm sensing
Anyway.
that as a mixer.
Ooh, there
As
you
a
go.
mixer,
Oh,
that would be
oh.
tasty. That would be tasty. Any hoodles. Okay.
Eddie Hoodles? That's a new one.
Eric, I don't know if you realize that I'm actually like an 85-year-old woman, but I am. Anyway, let's talk
I'm going to
about.
call you Marge from now on.
Did you know that's my middle name?
No way.
You're kidding me.
Susan Margaret. That's my full name.
That's amazing.
We're learning so much about each other on
Holy
these
cow.
episodes.
Yeah, my middle name is Lee.
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Look at us today, you guys. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, anyway.
Any hoodles.
Eddie Hoodles.
It's time for the review of the week.
All right.
All right. And this one is coming at you from YouTube, which if you're not watching us on YouTube, I mean, we're pretty funny.
That's our first review from YouTube.
No, it's our second.
Oh, it's our second?
It's our second.
Okay, I'm wrong.
Okay, that's fine. You were so confident in that, though.
Boy, I was.
I love it. Well, this one comes from Andrea, who was commenting on our episode 73, Where Did These Quirky Wisconsin Sayings Come From, with our fun guest host from the Wisconsin Drinking History podcast.
Oh, they were a blast.
Wasn't that fun?
Yeah.
That's
was a
so
good
far a
episode.
very popular episode. So she says, cool episode. Love the crossover with Wisconsin Drunken History. Cool banter between the hosts of my two favorite Wisconsin podcasts.
Aw.
Thank you, Andrea. So hilarious to learn about the origins of our silly sayings from Wisconsin, but any hoodles was not in those
Yeah,
sayings.
what were we thinking?
That'll be in our next one because
Thank you, Andrea.
we're making
Thank
that
you,
a
Andrea.
thing. Thank you, Andrea. Appreciate it.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. And so we are wrapping it up. Make sure you join
We
us
are.
next week for more fun and any Hoodles conversation.
Any hoodles conversation. We're here every Tuesday.
Good guy.
Today's episode of The Cabin was hosted by Eric Paulson, Dave Janis, and me, Susan Foch, with guest host of Sam Lee, produced by me and Audio Dave, with video editing by Cooper Steele, and social media by me and Courtney Haas. The Cabin is a production brought to you by Discover MediaWorks. To learn more, head to discovermediaworks.com, and don't forget to leave us a review.